morning, students. How are you? I hope you all are fine and you have done your previous work also. See, yesterday we have covered many topics. I have covered multicellular and unicellular organisms. What are the instruments we are using to explore the internal structures of the cell? And we have also covered levels of organization. But today we are going to cover cell size, cell shape and cell organelles, its functions. So let's start today's session.
Yes, children, today we will start with the topic that is cell shape and size. First of all, we will discuss about cell shape. See, different organisms have different cells of different kinds. These cells show great variation in terms of their shapes and sizes. Means we are having a lot of variety of shapes and their sizes also vary. The shape and size of cells are related to the specific function performed by the organism and not on the size of the organism. See, this thing you need to be very clear about, that whatever the shape of the cell is having and whatever its size, it is related to its function, not related to the size of the organism. What does it mean? That if I will talk about the cell of an elephant and if I'll talk about the cell of an ant, so their size and their shape depends on the function, not on the size. Means it doesn't make sense that elephant cell is quite big and ant cell is quite small. No. It depends on the function which they are performing. Now moving on to their shapes. We have 4 types of shape. First one is spherical, spindle, elongated, oval. So we have these type of shapes. Here if we will talk of spherical, so I can have the eggs of many cells. I'll show you the figure also where I'll show you the different shapes of cell. Spindle means smooth muscle cells. Spindle shaped है, pointed from the end and in between they are wider. Elongated, we have nerve cells जो हमारा न्यूरॉन है which is present in the brain, that is elongated. उसकी length जो है it's quite long. Why its length is quite long? Because it has to transfer message to different parts of the body. Third one is branched. If I'll talk about osteocytes, then they are branched and so on. So some cells may have definite shape and some cells have ever changing shape. Can you tell me any organism which is having ever changing shape cell? It is amoeba and white blood cells. These cells are having ever changing shape. So the shape of the cell helps in its functioning. For example, I told you that a nerve cell is a very long, it has a wire like projections coming out of it. These projections help us to carry messages and send them to all parts of the body. Similar way, muscle cells expand and contract. Their long thin shape helps them to do this. So all the cell components are enclosed in membrane which provide shape to every plant and animal cell. Now I'll show you the shape. See, this is smooth muscle cell. It is spindle shape. If I'll talk about blood cells, they are oval shape. Then bone cells, fat cells, oval, ovule, sperm, elongated hai. Nerve cell is also elongated. So these cells are every cell is having different shape, but it is according to its function, not according to the size of the organism. Now if we will move about the cell size, the cells and their organelles are measured by fractions of a millimeter. 1,000th of a millimeter is a micron, or we can call it micrometers. 1 micrometer is equal to 10 raised to power minus 3 millimeters. Okay. Most of the cells are microscopic in nature. This we have already discussed. They are not seen through naked eyes. They need to be enlarged or magnified by using any instrument, either compound microscope or electron microscope. The size of cell varies from the very small cell of bacteria to a very large eggs of ostrich. So we have a variety of size available. We have the largest egg of ostrich. It is the largest cell. Very small we are having bacteria. The size of bacteria varies from 0.1 to 0.5 micrometers. Whereas if I am talking about the large eggs, they are of ostrich, it is nearly 170 millimeter into 130 millimeter in dimensions. In our body, red blood cells are the smallest, which is having 7 micrometers, and the nerve cells are about 100 centimeter long. These are the longest in our body. The alga consists of single cell having a length of 10 centimeter. If I am talking about algae, it is a unicellular organism, means it is having only single cell, and the length of that size is 10 centimeter. Now, the size of cells has no relation with the body size of organism. This I have already cleared you. It doesn't make sense. The cells of a very big animal is not bigger than the cell of a small animal. So the size of a cell is related to its function, not related to the size of the organism. So for example, if we will talk about nerve cell of both rat and elephant are long and branched, which perform the same function of transmitting messages. So here this example clearly shows that the nerve cells, whether it is present in elephant and rat, both are long and branched, which perform the same functions of transmitting messages. Now moving on to the next part, that is parts of cell. See bete, this is the parts of the cell. These are the 3 important parts that a cell must contain. We call a cell living cell only when it is having cell membrane, it is having nucleus and cytoplasm. This is the structure that I have shown you for the parts of the cell. Now, the parts of the cell includes cell membrane, cytoplasm and nucleus. See, plasma membrane, you can also write down cell membrane, one and the same thing. Cell membrane and plasma membrane is same. So every cell organism is bounded by a thin delicate membrane that is called cell membrane or plasma membrane. This is the first constituent of the cell. It is compulsory that every cell must contain cell membrane or plasma membrane. Now second one is cytoplasm and the third one is nucleus. First of all, we will discuss about the cell membrane or plasma membrane and its functions. First function, plasma membrane is porous. What do you mean by porous? It is having pores and it allows the entry and exit of only selected substances. All the substances cannot enter this membrane and cannot come out of this membrane. Only certain selected substances can come in and can get out of the membrane. So for this reason only it is called selectively permeable membrane. Okay. Now second part, it provides an outer boundary of the cell and separates the cell from one another and also from the surrounding medium. It also protects our cell from the injury. This is the function. This is the physical boundary between cell and its environment. It provides. In addition, the plant cells and bacterial cells have an outer wall surrounding the cell membrane. This is called cell wall. So this is the extra feature, extra layer which is present on plant cell and bacterial cell. This cell wall provides protection against temperature variations, high wind speed and atmospheric pressure. So this way plasma membrane acting as a protective layer. So next is cytoplasm. It is a thick jelly-like fluid inside the cell bounded by a cell membrane. What its space is, it occupies the space between the cell membrane and the nucleus. All the chemical reactions of the cell occurs in cytoplasm. There are many small cytoplasmic organelles which is present in the cytoplasm or suspended in the cytoplasm. These are mitochondria, Golgi bodies, ribosomes, endoplasmic reticulum, etc. These are known as cell organelles. Okay. Now we will talk about nucleus. See, nucleus is the most important component of the living cell. It is large and spherical structure present in all the cells. After staining, it can be easily seen. I have told you that if I want to see any cell in the microscope, I need to stain it by using different dyes. So similar way, if I want to observe the nucleus, it should be stained. After staining, it can be easily seen with the help of a microscope. In animal cells, nucleus lies at the center of the cell, whereas in plant cells it is present at the periphery of the corner, due to the presence of a large vacuole. The nucleus consists of following four parts. It has nuclear membrane, nucleoplasm, nucleolus and chromosomes. So nuclear membrane, it is separated from cytoplasm by a membrane called nuclear membrane. It is itself separated by this membrane. If I want to separate the nucleus from the cytoplasm, nuclear membrane separates it. It is porous and allows certain substances to move in and move out. Second is nucleoplasm. It is the dense fluid present in the nucleus. That is nucleoplasm. And if I'll talk about nucleolus, it is a small spherical body which is present inside the nucleus, and it is rich in RNA, that is ribonucleic acid. It is the full form of RNA, which is ribonucleic acid, and for DNA it is deoxyribonucleic acid. Chromosomes, the last component, some fine thread-like structures composed of DNA are suspended in the nucleoplasm. These are known as chromatin fibers. What happens inside the chromosomes? These are the fine thread-like structures which is composed of DNA, that is deoxyribonucleic acid, and are suspended in nucleoplasm. In the dividing nucleus, these chromatin fibers condenses and form chromosomes. Due to this, chromosomes are only visible in dividing cells. We cannot see it, otherwise we can see only when these are dividing. So what these chromosomes carry? Genes. What are genes? These are responsible for passing genetic characters from the parents to the offspring. This is the factors which is being transferred from the parents to the offspring. A child receives one copy of each gene from the mother and another copy of same gene from the father. So what are the functions that nucleus is performing? Nucleus controls all the metabolic activities of the cell. It is responsible for passing genetic characteristics from the parents to the offsprings. Now moving on to the next topic, that is cell organelles. We'll do this topic. See, we have lot of organelles which are present in the cell or cytoplasm, that is mitochondria, vacuoles, endoplasmic reticulum, ribosomes, Golgi apparatus, plastids and centrosomes. We need to learn their functions and the name of the organelles also we'll discuss. If we will start with mitochondria, it is known as the powerhouse of the cell. These are small rod-like structures found in all the cells. What is their function? They provide energy for all the activities. This energy is produced by the oxidation of food and it is generated in the form of ATP. It is not given in your book, so you need to write it and write its abbreviation, complete form also. That is adenosine triphosphate. Energy है, that energy is stored in the form of ATP. Now moving on to vacuoles. These are sac-like structures. Plant cells have large vacuoles as compared to the animal cells. What is their function? Vacuoles store soluble food waste and secretions of cell dissolved in water as cell sap. Now moving on to the next. Now if we will talk about endoplasmic reticulum, so it is a network of tubules and channels and is involved in the synthesis, storage and transport of various cell products. Now moving on to the ribosomes. These are small granular structures which are scattered in the cytoplasm. These are the sites of protein synthesis. Now Golgi bodies. These are made up of tubules and vesicles and is responsible for the secretion of chemical substances like enzymes, hormones and proteins. Now moving on to centrosome. It is located near the nucleus. I have already told you that it is involved in cell division and it is found only and only in animal cells, not in plant cells. Now moving on to the last organelle, that is plastids. See, plastids are present in plant cells only. They contain certain pigments. That pigments होते हैं coloring pigments. These have a specific role to play in the functioning of plants. First one is chloroplast. These are green plastids. They contain chlorophyll which help in the photosynthesis. So if moving on to second type of plastid, that is chromoplast. These contain non-green pigments and the function of there is to impart colors to flowers and fruits. Now moving on to leucoplasts. They are colorless plastids which help in storage of foods. So today we have covered the topic till organelles and its functions. Read it from your book carefully.